Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Week 17, baby. We are back, guys. We are back. We are back. And we have some exciting news, but I'll let Degz go ahead and announce that. But before we do that, we always got to do our normal. Let's go ahead and let's crack these cold ones, baby boy. Cheers.
Cheers,
Cheers, buddy.
buddy.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Refreshing.
Hey, stateside, per usual. Stateside, Surfside. Surfside. So stateside sponsor us. We love your Surfsides per usual. We're gonna go ahead and just I'm gonna one day just have a whole compilation video of all the times that we like shut you guys out, and I may actually be doing the whole day one of DMing you for a sponsorship. Day two, and I'm just gonna keep on doing it until we
Till
get
we
a
get one.
sponsorship. We'll see. So
Persistence.
let's go ahead and dive into week 17 because this is a big week, man. Happy first off, happy holidays to all y'all.
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah, Happy
Hanukkah,
Kwanzaa,
Kwanzaa. Anything you
um,
all celebrate.
anything they all celebrate. Happy holidays, Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah.
If you're doing anything this weekend, don't be a dumbass. Please go ahead and call Uber or Lyft, whatever it may be.
Absolutely.
Or if you need a friend, reach out to them as well. But
Have a
um,
plan.
have a plan, and have some fun
Be
though.
safe. Yep.
Enjoy the year, enjoy this prosperous year that we just had, and then going into next year. Many big goals that everybody has, of course, and let's just let's cheers to that. Let's cheers to
Yeah,
many good things in 2024, brother.
certainly.
Glad to be doing this with you.
Now, I mean, 2023 has been, I think, a great year for both of us.
Yep.
Had a lot of growth in more ways than one. This included, finally, buckling up and doing this thing,
Yeah.
So, as we were talking this week, caught up with some family, friends I haven't seen in a while, and we got some listeners for sure. Some
Yeah.
people that are tuning in every week. It was very positive feedback. So you know who you are. I appreciate it. We appreciate you.
Uh huh.
But it honestly it's motivation just to
Yep.
to keep at it, stay consistent. We and get to this the most we can, and that's pretty much the feedback they said. They said, hey, if you guys can keep pumping it out, once a week,
Hmm.
like we said, maybe two coming up. They love it. It's just consistency is the game here, and
We got to do more. Well, we got to figure out more with what put posting on social media. That's always the one thing that I always like
well,
try to
right.
figure out. And we'll
So
figure that out in
2024,
24.
that's a goal, right?
Right.
To do a better job with that.
Yep.
Take the next step here. We started what August, September.
Yeah.
Here we
Off of a
are,
phone.
December, getting ready to hit 2024 off the ground running.
Yeah.
So we should remember this moment, and this time next year when we're recording our episode,
Hell yeah.
you know, we'll we'll have grown a lot more.
For sure, man. I'm right there with you, brother. No, it was a great year. Lot like Dyke said, lots of great things that have happened over this year. A lot of great things that we're looking forward to in the new year. And hopefully because we are going to continue doing this for obviously every single NFL season as well. Um, but hopefully by next NFL season, stateside reaches out to us, and then who knows?
Who knows? Stateside. I mean, you can get sponsorship from anyone.
We
Just
could
gotta
get a sponsorship from anybody.
just gotta keep at it. That's
Yeah,
the goal, and we definitely would love stateside.
yeah. I want to be decked out in stateside. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with week 17 with this week. I mean, it's a big week with some of these games. So what we're gonna do is, I mean, really, we're gonna give you guys, our picks over these games, but there are some specific games that we are gonna dive into a little bit more in particular, just because they have a little bit more meaning behind them, a little bit more weight behind them for this weekend. Um, and then we're gonna talk about, our playoff predictions or just the playoff picture, what it looks like as of right now. There are obviously are some things that need to happen over the AFC because there's a lot of I think there's at least like 2 or 3 um, slots that still need to be filled over there in the AFC. So
Yeah, it could be musical chairs the
yeah,
next 2 weeks here.
it's
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting. Um, and then we'll talk about the yearly awards that we have in mind, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Sounds
So
great.
let's start it off. Degs, I'll toss it over to you as we do for our normal sport, starting for the pod.
Yeah, so week 17, there's a few weeks we didn't hit, but the season long record, if you guys have been listening a few weeks ago, I had a uphill battle, but the last few weeks I have clawed my way back, and we are at a tied record going into week 17 here, 95 and 55 apiece.
Don't call it a comeback.
Big week here for your boy. Big week here for Joxy. I'm very, very curious where the differences come here.
Hmm.
So it's a big week for some teams, and it's a big week for us. So I think let's kick it off with the Saturday game, Detroit at Dallas.
Detroit at Dallas. One of those big games right now that there's a lot of meaning behind this game. With not only like if the Lions went out, they end up taking over that second seed.
Right. They
They have the upper hand on the Eagles right now with their schedule and who the teams that they played and they won against. So it's the first weekend that you're actually going to hear me where I'm going to say go Dallas.
oof,
It's
wow.
it's it's going to be the first weekend you're going to see a lot of Philly fans like clapping and going and rooting for Dallas. We this probably happens, I don't know, every
Every so often.
once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't happen that often, but damn it, Dallas. I think this is the biggest thing, and looking at my notes from what I have earlier, the two biggest notable injuries that I have in this is Taylor Decker's going to be out for the Lions.
Okay.
Okay, Zach Martin, he got a rest day today, but Tyron Smith, he did not practice at all. So Dallas has a lot of weaknesses on the line.
A little hampered.
Um, the Lions don't have as much that much weaknesses at their line. But it's just so hard with this game. It's so hard to to bet against the Detroit Lions. They've gotten healthy at the perfect time. C.J. Gardner Johnson's back.
Yeah, that is huge.
That's
On
a
their
big
defense,
thing.
their secondary's changed because of that.
Exactly. Their running back. I mean, their whole offensive scheme right now is dynamic.
On fire.
You have not only Jameer Gibbs, you have Monty, you have Amon St. Brown, you have Jamison Williams, you have Laporta.
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
it's becoming and I've already said this that me being an Eagles fan and me being a more realistic Eagles fan, that I feel more confident us going toe to toe with Dallas than I do with Detroit. Detroit has that team that I feel like their front seven can get the teams really quick. I think that their secondary is pretty good too. Like that secondary is not no slouch.
It's getting stronger. They definitely have some good pieces on that back end there. They're playing great football right now.
They're playing great football now. This is the thing though. Who do they have to cover? They only have to cover what? Um, not Schultz. It's not Schultz. What's his name?
Ferguson,
Ferguson. And they have to cover obviously CD.
CD,
Um,
Cooks. I mean, Dallas has the weapons. They have it. I mean, they're deep. Cooks, Gallup isn't a slouch. Uh,
I completely forgot about Gallup. To be honest, I
I mean,
think it's
he's
mainly
been very
because,
quiet.
but I think it's also because he was injured.
He's always injured.
He's always injured. So
But Pollard. I mean, they definitely have a good amount of weapons. They just got a beat down last week.
yeah,
So I think coming back home, after a loss like that, I kind of feel like they're going to play pretty well this game. I I do agree with you. I think it's going to be a dogfight. Dan Campbell will have them ready. I love that man. I
yeah,
love Detroit. I
yeah.
really do. They're like one of those my side teams I've been rooting for. I love to see them have some success in the playoffs too. Um,
Yeah, this
I
is
I do think they're a young team, so this is a big moment for them, and I'm wondering if it's too big. But I'm taking Dallas. But you're right.
playing in Dallas. I mean, Dallas doesn't lose in Dallas,
They're
right?
they're doing real. Yeah,
They're
their track
playing.
record this year.
They're playing really well at home. So that bodes well for them. I'm going with Dallas as well because I have to ride this wave. I have to drink from this Kool-Aid and sit there and root for this team this weekend. So Dak, go Dak, let's go. Well, let's go Dak. I don't know if I said go Dak, go. Um, but let's go Dak. Get your head out of your ass and get stuff together so we can go ahead and
I
the
do
Eagles
think
can have a better.
I think they'll bounce back a little. I mean, whether they get the win or not, but they'll be more competitive than they certainly were last week.
Yeah. So we're both on a Dallas train that with that one. Um, yeah, I mean, with me being rooting for Dallas, everybody's probably like,
Yeah, probably some Eagles fans are like, "Come on, man."
sorry guys, we just have to sip the Kool Aid this week. We gotta sip the Kool Aid. All right, let's go on to the next one. So we got New Orleans at Tampa Bay.
Hmm.
Another big game.
Big divisional
Um,
one. Yeah,
right now, if Tampa Bay loses, they will be there will be a three-way tie with Tampa Bay, New Orleans, and Atlanta in the NFC South for first place
correct.
going into
The last week,
the last week of the season.
right?
My question is, why does this happen a lot with the NFC South?
I think for so many years. I mean, Tampa's been the big dog when they had Tom Brady. But other than
Was it
that,
3 years?
yeah.
Yeah.
Other than those years, I mean, Drew Brees for the most part ran that. But you are right. It does seem like it's always a tight race. I mean, like for a while, I mean they weren't that. I mean, Matt Ryan was in the division for a while, and he wasn't bad.
It wasn't a bad. It hasn't been
Cam
like
Newton.
you look at these teams and they're not like
Well,
teams that
these
have been like historically horrible teams and whatnot. But it's just I feel like
if most of those teams they're
more
in,
than other divisions, there has been a tighter race
yeah,
in the NFC South in the last 10 to 15 years.
they're that weak division in the NFC. Like
Yeah,
if they were most of those teams were in another division, I don't think they made the playoffs.
yeah,
Uh, that being said, I do think Tampa will take it this week. I think they're playing pretty good football. I think they have, they have good vets,
hmm
right? They have one.
yep,
Todd Bowles, he's a winning defensive coordinator. I think he's doing a pretty good job this year. Baker's playing probably the best season he's ever had.
yeah,
Their defense is a little bit of an issue. They give up a lot in the passing game, which I think New Orleans can expose this week a little bit.
yeah.
I think it's going to be a close one again. But I think them being home, I think they know what they have to do.
Yeah.
I just it just feels like New Orleans has been up and down, up and down.
Inconsistent, very much so. They don't have any
You
continuity with like or identity with like their offense. Um,
no,
the 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 city hates Drew Brees or not Drew Brees,
Derek
Derek
Carr.
Carr. Um,
They might be better off with
they're
Jameis right now.
yeah, at this rate, I think that
They
they're
just
gonna
paid him
have
all
to
that
look.
money, so
They're
they
gonna have to look at their options in this off season. I know that they paid him all that money, but do you really think that you can succeed and actually compete for a championship with Derek Carr as your quarterback? I don't think so, and I don't think any GM or any coach can go ahead and confidently say that they would feel, confident with Derek Carr leading their team today.
I agree with you. I think for the sole fact that he's in this division,
Yeah,
he might be able to win a division title, right? He might be able to do that. We'll see what happens this year,
right.
next year, but I think that's the ceiling.
That's it.
I,
That's it.
I just don't think. I think they made it kind of like obviously didn't give up the capital
hmm
that Broncos did, but they kind of did the Russell Wilson thing.
Yep.
They jumped the gun, try to put a band-aid on the situation because they do have good pieces,
Yeah,
but they went up. That was wrong. They should have just stuck with Jameis if anything.
I agree. So we're both on Tampa Bay with this one. I'm riding my Tampa train the rest of this year.
Yeah, you call that
Yeah, I said it at the beginning of this year that they're going to win they're going to go ahead and win it. So um, next game we have
big
Miami
one,
at Baltimore.
big one.
This is huge.
Basically for the AFC,
This is huge.
uh, home field advantage.
This is a big game. Now I'm sticking with Baltimore that they're going to take this one. I feel confident in Lamar. I'm not betting against Lamar. Um, when you watch him in the pocket. his pocket awareness is remarkable. For him to know, like, I'm standing right here and I know that there's going to be somebody coming behind me. Let me go ahead and move this way. And you have now that much extra time. He has so many weapons on his team, but then at the same time, they're not like anything like crazy weapons. These are you got a rookie, Zay Flowers, as technically your best receiver. Odell Beckham. I know Odell can still produce, but Odell is past his prime. They don't have anybody like notable as their running backs. What, Justice Hill is their running back?
It was, I mean, they had a Justice Hill and Gus Edwards now. I mean, they did have Keaton Mitchell, who looked like a nice
Yeah.
piece, but
But once again,
no alphas.
no alphas, right?
Right.
You have Isaiah Likely, your backup tight end, which Isaiah Likely, boy oh boy, that man could be a starting tight end on a lot of teams today.
I, I think he's a big reason that he saved the offense.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. He's no Mark Andrews,
No.
but in a way, the offense continues as usual.
Yeah.
They don't have to switch anything up really because he has the same abilities that offensively.
Yep.
He's not as good as a blocker. He's not as big. He's more of like the receiver bodied tight end. But I've been very impressed with it. Him and Lamar have a connection.
Yep. And then their defense.
Legit, man. You know, it's funny. The Baltimore Ravens. This is gonna come out. There's gonna be some people that hear this and probably like think, don't make sense. But in a way, just the way the team is built. I'm not saying the actual personnel, the actual people. They remind me of when the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Because the receivers, right? The receivers you're naming, they're
Yeah.
kind of just receivers that they're nothing flashy, but they're doing their job,
Yeah.
right? Like Alshon was good enough to be a one. You know, what's his name? Who's the deep threat?
There was Torrey Smith that we
Torrey
had.
Smith. Like, I mean, he had a good. He did what we needed him to do, but he wasn't anything
Mm-hmm.
special. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Um, I don't know. They just kind of have like that gritty,
Yeah.
misfit type of, and then the defense, right? Their defense. I mean, last week was a magnificent performance on one of the top offenses. Um, you know, they shut Purdy down. Obviously CMC did his thing, but I
Yeah.
mean he CMC. But I think those things are going to be huge for them. I think I've said this all season. Miami's a different team on the road, and I just think it's going to continue here. I would love to see Miami take it because I love new blood. I think Baltimore's going to win the
I agree with you. I don't think that Miami can go ahead and actually confidently like go into Baltimore and actually win that game.
game. Yeah,
I think Baltimore's too strong.
yeah,
So I think they take this one.
yeah.
Next game we have Jacksonville at Carolina.
Carolina
So,
at Jacksonville.
I'm sorry, Carolina and Jacksonville. So another big game, mainly for Jacksonville because the Jags right now are fighting for that spot in the playoffs as well as the Colts.
Hmm.
Um, so they're essentially fighting for the first place in AFC South right now. I do think that Jags take this one. Obviously, it's purely off of just their opponents that they're facing this week.
Right.
Um,
The gimme.
yeah, I think they have a higher percentage because of that they can actually, and they do have a higher percentage to make the playoffs because of I think their schedule,
Right.
but also because of obviously this week, with who they're matched up versus the Colts. So I have the Jags winning this one. Doug P gets back into the playoffs. I do wonder how far did they go in because they were on a little bit of a tear for a while, and then they lost a few games. So I'm curious what happens if anything changes in the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah. They started slow, they got hot, and then yeah, you're right. They haven't looked great, and it kind of all started from that Monday Night Football game with the Bengals, right? They lost Christian Kirk, which has proven to be a big deal for them.
Yeah.
And Lawrence has been dealing with. I mean, he's been kind of a warrior playing through it, but you can tell he ain't the same, and that's been causing issues for their offense. Ridley's been underwhelming as hell. ETN's had a very good year. I think Ingram's.
Sidebar: his brother just transferred.
I saw that.
Did you see that?
Yeah, he left Florida.
And he's going to Georgia.
Yeah, good for him. That's
Good for him though.
that's a good opportunity.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Hell yeah. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, no.
You were talking about
So I just
ETN,
think
talking
I
about
agree with you.
Ingram.
I think that they're good enough to win the division. This is an easy game for
Yeah.
them. I think they win this. But I don't think they're going to make too much of a splash in the playoffs. I don't think they just have the momentum needed to do so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, even though they'll have home field first game if they win the division. I wouldn't be surprised they got upset.
Yeah. A one and done type of thing.
Yeah,
Well, we both have Jags versus Carolina on this one. So far
on
we're
the same page.
yeah, we're on the same page. Next game we have San Francisco at Washington.
I think another easy one
Do we
here.
need to really like talk about that one?
San
I think we
Francisco,
both know that San Francisco is going to go into Washington and just
they're going to have a big bounce back week. Probably unload it.
yeah,
Brissett's
just
supposed to be
to
starting
secure
now.
that first place.
Yeah, the secondary is terrible in Washington. Brissett's starting now. It's
No,
no. How is starting?
Brissett was out today at practice. So
Really? How's back in?
how more
Which
than likely
they
will they
should
be back?
just let him finish the season. I
I
hate
don't like
Rivera.
the whole let's flip flop quarterbacks and let's take away
Like
the
he had a rough
especially when you
game
have
versus
a young guy that you drafted and then you
right.
want to go ahead and have as your franchise quarterback. You don't do that.
I know he looked terrible in that Jets game. I get it. Like for crying out loud, he's had some baller weeks. Your offensive
Yep,
line's terrible. Team's not good.
he was balling for several weeks.
Yeah.
I had him starting in fantasy for at least 2 weeks
So
this
I
year.
hate
So
Rivera. You know we don't gotta talk about. Yeah, you're
yeah,
San Francisco all the
yep,
way.
same for him. Tennessee at Houston.
Yeah.
You want to take it away? It's your boys.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Tennessee, they're fighting hard still in every game. We've already been eliminated from playoff contention, which I'm fine with.
Tannehill's playing. Is he starting
I,
again?
I I think we might see him the rest of the season. I could see them kind of just shutting Levis down. Don't want anything else bad to happen to him. They've seen enough. He's the guy. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? So this team ain't it for him. I think I'm gonna cherish the next two games with Henry because I don't know if he'll be on the team next year,
yeah.
which I understand on both sides. I like Spears. Yeah, I think Houston's going to take it. Oh, yeah. Cheers
Cheers
to a great
to
career in Tennessee, man.
great career.
But yeah, I think Houston takes it. Stroud's coming back this week. Um, I'm thinking home game for him. I think he'll bounce back. They have a nice week versus that secondary. Nico Collins probably have a nice day. Um, so yeah, I think Houston keeps clawing and still gives them a chance to make the playoffs there.
Yeah, Houston gets healthy right at the right time. Nico Collins is back. Um, I think they have a big week. Nico is gonna demand so much attention, being the main guy out there, of course.
He's going to have
But
all their
I
day.
think he's gonna have just bouncing back. I think he's gonna have a great day.
Absolutely.
So Houston, we got this. We both are on the same page with Houston on this one.
Yeah.
Arizona at Philadelphia. Um, so I'll give my quick summary of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So
Take it away.
they overall with Philly right now, they have to win. I mean, it's obviously like every game you obviously want to win, and there's no like losses and whatnot. But like this is a must-win game.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that at the end of the season that we have to go ahead and say this is a must-win game when we were doing so well, and then you just had that long break of just like back-to-back losses. So, um, the good news, Avante Maddox, he was a full participant.
Right, I saw. He's come
Um,
back.
so we have some health coming back to us on our secondary. Avante, I think I tell you this much, man. I'd much rather have Avante out there instead of Bradbury. Bradbury's been pissing me off, man, and Kelly Ringo right now. There's a lot of people saying that if you put Kelly Ringo on the other side of Slay, that they think that would be a really great matchup. Ringo's actually he's been doing really well. His numbers for the past 4 games that he's played in, uh, there's only a max of 96 yards total that's been passed on him, and he has that interception. I mean, it was a end of game interception, but still he had the interception from last week. Um, so this weekend you have Kyler Murray coming into town, Jonathan Gannon coming into town. They know
Right, they know.
they they
Yeah,
they know
Gannon's
they
got some
know
edge there.
Gannon. They
Yeah,
know
yeah.
Gannon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you gotta just smack this team around. They're eliminated from the playoffs. They're not caring essentially for what they're gonna do, and I'll tell you this much: this is the team where if they start getting some type of fire, even though that they're eliminated from the playoffs,
Oh,
if
they'll
they
ride it. Yeah.
they will ride it, and then it's gonna be the most frustrating game in the world. So I have Philly in this one. Um, I'm not making a prediction because I just don't trust them enough right now to
Yeah,
make a prediction.
yeah.
But I have Philly in this one.
I have Philly as well. Um, yeah, I mean, Philly's. It was a closer game than I'm sure any of the fans wanted last week. Still got the win, so that's still important. I think that might just be the way it is this season. I mean, I don't know if they're going to blow the Cardinals out. I think the Cardinals could stay with them for a little bit, but
Yeah.
I have Philly. There's no doubt in my mind they'll end up winning this game. They're a better football team.
Yeah.
Uh, I think not only for their position in the playoffs do they need these wins, but I just think for their psyche, they just got to knock these teams down,
Yep.
right? Going into the playoffs,
Win
have
those
some
winnable
momentum. You
games.
don't want to have the 3-game losing streak and then go like I think even going 2-1 is not ideal.
Yeah.
Um, I do think you guys are fine though. I know there's a lot of Eagles fans that are kind of very nervous now. I mean, do I think you should be nervous for like the Niners and some of the powerhouses? Yeah, I'm not saying not, but they got to the Super Bowl last year.
Right.
They have a lot of experience on that team. Still some Graham and whatnot from the Super Bowl, Cox. They have some of those guys. They know what they have to do. So I think the Eagles are going to be fine. I think they're going to win the division.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, as long as because obviously they just had they got a. I think they actually have that tiebreaker against Dallas right now, so I think they would win the division
Yeah,
at the end of it. Yep.
yeah, yeah,
So, all right. Well, let's go Birds.
yeah.
Well, let's cheers
Cheers
to
to the
that.
Birds. Yeah.
We cheers to your boys. Let's cheers to mine. I will be sporting my Kelly Green My Lotta jersey. Thank you, my love, for getting me that for Christmas.
It's awesome.
Next game we have
Las Vegas at Indianapolis.
our first disagreement. It's gonna be a battle of defenses because they're
Agreed.
two of the best defenses in the league right now.
Agreed.
I think Vegas takes this one. I think Vegas's defense is too strong for Gardner. I think they actually not only do I think they win this game, I think they win this game very
By a
like
healthy
single
margin.
handedly.
Huh.
Yeah, like I think by like 14 points, two
I
scores.
I agree. It's going to be defensive battle. I agree. I think Gardner is going to have a tough time. I do think Jonathan Taylor's going to have a huge day, though. So
Okay.
I kind of feel like the defense with him will get them a, a close victory.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. This one I kind of went back and forth. I don't disagree. The Raiders playing great football. They love their coach now. You can tell that it's a 180 from what was in that locker room. Uh, I mean, Crosby could very well be Defensive Player of the Year. So yeah, you made all great points. I'm just taking Indy. I think they have a lot more at stake. They're still playing for the playoffs. I think they just kind of ride that momentum at home.
Our first disagreement. Let's
Yeah,
go.
well, it's gonna be huge.
Let's go Raiders. How does it's so funny. Justin will look at Jason and be like, Jace, what's your favorite team? He'll be like, Raiders.
Teaching them young.
2 years old, already knows how to say it. It's funny. All right, what we got next on the list? We got Atlanta and Chicago.
Yeah.
It's just a yawn game, a bummer game, but once
Yeah.
again, Atlanta has to play for a lot of things on the line right now for them.
Right.
NFC South is pretty tight. Um, this is honestly going to be a game that I think Chicago takes. I think Chicago takes because they're at home. I don't trust Atlanta. I don't trust Arthur Smith being able to coach, even regardless if it's Chicago. I just don't think that they have the marbles to go in there and to win it. Um, there's nothing about Chicago that like screams, "Oh my gosh, they're such a better team than Atlanta." I honestly think that with you, if you look at their team, there's only probably two players that you would take, and there's a lot of players from Atlanta that you would take versus Chicago. Justin Fields and DJ Moore.
DJ Moore on the offensive side, no doubt.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm focusing on.
Yeah. On the offensive side, no doubt. Yeah. Yeah.
So and I don't trust Atlanta's defense. Like
Justin Fields could be an Atlanta Falcon.
he could very well could. Uh, Justin, don't do that if Marcus Smith is still down there because that would be the worst thing in the world.
Oh god.
Chicago, I have Chicago in this one. So another disagreement on here. I'll let you go ahead and take it away for your boys.
I don't know if they're my boys. I do have the Falcons this week. I think they played a really good game last week. Defense looked pretty freaking good. That being said, Chicago's defense is playing at elite level right
Yeah.
now. Montez Sweat been a fantastic addition. Jalen Johnson on the secondary, he's having a fantastic year. So I definitely think it's gonna be another close one. It's gonna be one of those Arthur Smith like somehow like guts out a win. I don't know how, but he makes like still like 15 terrible decisions but wins.
You saying young Wake who's going to bail him out?
Potentially, yes. Like 5 field
Which is
goals.
so funny that it's to say that your kicker has to be the one to bail you out.
They're just one of those teams, dude. I mean, their their quarterback situation is atrocious.
Yeah.
So I just think that they're another one. Same thing with Indianapolis. I think they have a lot they're playing for. Um, Chicago doesn't. I think Atlanta gets it.
Yep. Well, cheers to you, buddy.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
New England at Buffalo. No real talk about this one. Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo. We can just move on.
Yeah. Rams at Giants. So this is a game that I think that the Giants could very well win because the Rams are very much inconsistent. But I do think that the Rams do have some things going for them. Some excitement going on over there. Puka could go ahead and break the record for the most catches in yards by a rookie wide receiver.
Yeah.
That's been currently held by Anquan Bolden. So he needs 6 catches in order to break the record. So
Unless he gets hurt, I think it's happening.
yeah, I agree. And I think if I'm not mistaken, I think only 15 yards.
Yeah, it's something minimal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very minimum on his yardage. So with this one, I even though I think that the Rams could lose it just by freak stuff happening, I think that they'll walk into New York and they'll win it. I don't think it's going to be a freaking like
Blowout.
blowout. I think that New York actually puts up a fight. Tommy D.
Is he gonna be back out there, or is it
It could be
Tyrod?
Tyrod. I didn't see anything on the injury report about Tommy D. So
Yeah, I have the Rams too. I think the Rams playing pretty good football right now.
yeah,
The offense, Matt Stafford looks good, man. He's healthy. He's got great weapons. I mean, I'd almost argue he's got better weapons than he had when he won the Super Bowl.
well, you have a young and thriving Puka. You still have a young Coop. You have
Still,
Kyron Williams.
still have Higbee.
Higbee's still doing. Yeah, he's still there. So he
Tutu
has options.
Atwell. Yeah,
He has options. He has
yeah.
options for sure.
So the defense is the weaker part. They've played a little better as of late, but yeah, I don't disagree. I think the Giants could maybe hang for a little bit, but I think their secondary is just too much of an issue, and I think those receivers are going to take advantage of it.
Yep,
And the Rams get the victory on the road.
I agree. Pittsburgh at Seattle. I don't trust Pittsburgh. I just can't trust Pittsburgh. They're very much inconsistent, and
Yeah,
with Mason Rudolph now at their,
he's going to implode this week. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean,
I don't see,
I
I don't
just
see the magic continuing.
maybe I'll eat my words, but I just he's been in the league for a little bit.
Seattle's a lot stronger than a lot of people think.
They're another one that was a good win last. I mean, the last 2 weeks they've had some good wins.
Yep.
So they've been nail biters, but beating the Eagles is huge, right, on Monday night,
Yep.
and then they got the win they needed to get done versus Tennessee last week. I think they do it again. They're home. It's hard to win in Seattle again. Yeah, Pittsburgh. I think they're inconsistent. It'll be the type of week, right? They balled out last week. They put up like what 13 points this week,
Yep.
something like that. I'm thinking something like that.
I agree. So we both have Seattle in that one.
Yep.
Chargers at Denver.
Ugh. I got Chargers.
I got Chargers too.
I think Denver just fucked themselves up with
Yeah,
that whole situation. I mean,
I don't think Stidham's going to go ahead and do anything to go ahead and get them
No.
into the playoffs.
I mean, I
Um,
do know Russell Wilson's better
Sean
than
Sean
Stafford.
Payton, shame on you. Like honestly, like
This was all
yes,
handled.
shame on Sean on Russ as well. But like
Just handled
Sean
terribly.
just came in there, just kind of acting like a hooligan, thinking like that he was just going to go ahead and be able to say, you know what, we're doing this in the third, and it's just like, dude, you got to learn that like when you have a franchise quarterback at the side, like at like when you have a franchise quarterback like Russ, yeah, you say that you treat everybody the same. You don't treat him the same as everybody else. Like that's your franchise quarterback. You got to have like an understanding to like try to work with him and make this whole thing like work out. But
Well, right, like Russ is a fruitcake, right? He's a weirdo kind of. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Unfortunately, sorry, Russ, but man does have a Super Bowl on his resume. You know what I mean? He's had success. Um, he's not. The Broncos are the one that gave him the contract.
yeah,
What was he supposed to do? Say, no, you know what? I'm not worth this. Give me this. Like,
no, I know. But what I'm saying is just how like Sean came in there,
what else I'm saying? I
and
think they should have just handled it better.
yeah,
Like I get
they
this
you
situation at
just got
hand.
to you have to like
Let them finish the season, and then after that, it could have just been up. They're gonna go separate ways.
yep. But this late in the season going through this switch, I don't like it.
Yeah,
Chargers got this.
agreed.
Cincinnati at Kansas City.
I think it's an I think it's an easy one. I know Browning's been playing pretty good,
Yeah.
but I think Kansas City they need a dub bad,
Yep.
and they're home. I think Kelsey could go off this week after everything that happened with him. I just think that they're one of those teams where like they get kicked in the face and it actually builds momentum for them. You
Yep.
know what I mean? I don't think they're a fantastic team. Don't get me wrong. I think they're gonna have some trouble in the playoffs. But Cincinnati road game again. Yeah, I don't think Brown gets it done.
So Jamar Chase gave since Kansas City some bulletin material. Okay. Kansas City doesn't have that strong of a secondary. He was saying how their secondary is very mediocre. Um, do I believe him? Yes. I
Hmm.
think that Kansas City's secondary is very much mediocre. I think that Kansas City is a team that you can score on a lot and frustrate them, and they kind of get into their own heads where they make self-inflicted wounds of just like, oh, well, I'm pissed off over here, and I'm just doing it. Like,
It's been a lot of that this year.
there's a lot of that over there. Um, Cincinnati going into Kansas City, they're I feel as if thinking that they can obviously pull this win out, but the Kansas City Chiefs are like, oh, Browning's coming in, we got this, we can go ahead and take care of this, right? Which I very much well think that they could. I mean, they still have a front four that can go ahead and get the quarterbacks. It's not something that they can't. I'm going Cincy though. Going Cincy.
Wow,
Yeah,
that'd be a huge upset. Yeah,
that I'm going Cincy, and it's purely that I just believe that their team is built better for Browning to succeed versus Patrick Mahomes' team to help him succeed.
I get you.
You know what I'm saying? You know
I
what I'm
mean,
saying?
there's Browning definitely has better
He
weapons.
has, but that's what I'm saying. He has better
100%,
weapons.
100%.
I know that Patrick Mahomes is Patrick
I mean,
Mahomes,
he's not gonna have Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you're making good
but
points. He's not gonna have
Patrick Mahomes,
Pacheco.
he's not gonna have.
Clyde's got to start. You're right. Tony and all them are a mess. I will say, Rashee Rice.
Rishi Rice is the
He's a little
only.
hidden gem they have there.
That is
Yeah,
the only thing that I will give him
yeah.
is that.
I like him.
So this is going to be a game. To your point, I think it's a close game.
Yeah.
Still think it's a close game. I think it's a three-point game, even possibly like a
No,
2-point game, like a weird score, like a freaking like
listen,
21,
listen. I
23.
love the gutsy call because I'm gonna be frank with you. Cincinnati, two of those dubs. That's how I clawed back. I picked them twice in some tough matchups, and
That's a team.
they have the grit.
Yeah,
They have the grit, and I I
Zach Taylor has coached them very well
I was
over
just gonna
there.
say I have to tip my hat to him because he's someone that I've definitely questioned over the years. But his game planning that he's had for Browning, he minus last game, and I think a lot of it just got out of hand quick with the defense. He's put him in position to be successful, even with games without Jamar Chase in there.
Yeah,
So I do gotta give my credit to Taylor there.
yeah, for sure. Last game of the week we have is Green Bay at Minnesota. Minnesota has their backups at their backups backup that's coming in.
Jared Hall.
Their backup's backup.
I don't even know who the starter really was.
Kirk, and then it was
Oh, okay.
Munns,
I was
and
thinking
then
you
it
were
would
just
be
talking about the
Dobbs,
three
and
guys.
now
Yeah,
it's this guy.
he
So
was the
the
first
backup's
backup.
backup. It's that's a crazy freaking. That's insane. Um,
Jared
and
Hall.
then Green Bay. What the hell is going on with Jair Alexander doing all that mess on the freaking field last
I
week?
did see some of
That
that.
was so stupid.
He's
Like
kind of a strange person too.
he's a diva. He's a
Yeah,
straight diva. I and he's going to be the player that is going to picked up by some team, and they're going to thrive off of the perfect team that they have built together, and because he's added to them, and he's still going to continue his divaness.
yeah.
Um, do we know if Jordan Love is playing?
I think he's gonna play. I didn't see that look. I know he was questionable, but I didn't see reports that he wasn't. They were looking to go the other
Yeah,
way with
you
him.
know what? I'm just gonna go with it. I think Minnesota wins this one as well. Justin Jefferson at a center too strong to two receivers to go ahead and have Green Bay keep up
Well,
with them.
Addison might be out.
There's
I
it's a
still,
he's questionable.
I'm with you.
He's questionable right now with Green Bay taking Jair out this week. That hurts them a lot on their defense.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna suck. So even though that they have their backup, coming into the game, I still think that they could go ahead and pull out this dub against them.
I agree. I think someone like JJ will do the a backup like that some justice.
Now it's not going to be a blowout though. It's another one where
Oh,
it's very
it's a close divisional game for sure.
very close game.
Maybe a lot of Greg Joseph, but Hall is like an athletic type of quarterback. The reason he didn't even get his real shot, I don't know if you remember, like the first quarter, he got popped out with that concussion. He was going for a quarterback draw. So I'm interested to see kind of how that dynamic works. I do really like Ty Chandler this week as a running
Mm-hmm.
back. I think that he has a great matchup versus Green Bay. I said that kind of with the Colts game, and I kind of going to ride that. I think the run game is going to give them the win this week.
Yeah. Well, with that being said,
I'm going to hold off.
all right,
Yeah, I'm going to hold off.
all right.
But yeah.
My man's got a date tonight. Our guy, our guy.
Got some plans.
We're gonna just cheers to that.
Got some plans.
All right. So, as of right now, going into this playoff outlook right now, I'll go through the NFC. So, and
Yeah.
you can take over the AFC. So, right now with the playoff outlook with what we had discussed. So, San Fran, of course, would be the number one seed.
Yeah.
Um, Philly
Mm-hmm.
would be the number two seed.
Yeah, I agree.
You would have Detroit being number three. And then you would have Tampa Bay taking the NFC South
Mm-hmm.
division. So that would be your 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then for 5, 6, and 7, we have in the NFC is Dallas, the Rams, and Seattle. Um, some very very well, some good games could definitely come out of that one. Another if you go ahead and throw Philly and Seattle back at it again, it's like
I think these are firmly the 7 best teams in the NFC.
I agree.
Personally,
I agree.
I think there's some fun matchups here. Detroit versus the Rams, that whole thing because of the trade, that'd be cool.
Boy, Seattle coming into Philly, that place is going to be crazy because they're
Yeah,
going to be screaming their heads off.
yeah, that's huge. And then, I mean, obviously Dallas versus Tampa would be the least favorite game, but that could be still be a good one.
Yeah, that could still be a good one. Hey, let's go Baker. All right, so what we got for the AFC?
AFC. So as we said, it's a big week for the Baltimore Miami game, and I think that decides who takes number one. So that being said, we got Baltimore here as number one, Miami number two, right behind them. I do think Kansas City holds on with a 3 spot. They're obviously going to win their division. We do have Jacksonville holding on, winning their division at 4. So that's the top 4. And then the 5 wild cards, we got Cleveland, who they're playing great football. Since we didn't get to touch that game, let me just say Joey Flacco, man, that guy is a boss. I
Yeah.
I
Shout
might
out to Joe Flacco, man.
hot take. I think he's playing the best football of his career. Like the last couple games, I know he's had some great playoff games, at least in the regular season.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't think he was as confident as he is now, like just slinging that football. But I don't know. Maybe that comes with age. But I just had to give him that shout out. He looks phenomenal, and I wouldn't be surprised if as a fifth seed, he went into Jacksonville and won. But then I got Buffalo. I think Buffalo, they're going to get in, and then it's basically going to come down to Houston and the Colts. I have Houston winning. I think they both win this week, and then they have the showdown together and see who wins the wild card matchup, basically. So we got Houston here.
Cleveland is a team. A lot of people have been saying this, and I'm not going to sit there and get on this bandwagon, but
AFC
they
Championship.
have the defense to take them all the way.
Let me
We're
let me
not go. We're not going to go there.
let me paint a quick picture, right? So it'd be Miami playing Houston. It'd be Kansas City playing Buffalo, and then it'd be Jacksonville playing Cleveland. So let's say Cleveland beats Jacksonville. Okay, they're the 5 seed. Let's say Buffalo beats Kansas City,
Mm-hmm.
and then let's say Miami wins, right? So Buffalo then would go on to Miami. No, they
Baltimore.
go to Baltimore. Cleveland plays Miami.
Oh
Cle-
my goodness.
Cleveland could maybe get to the AFC Championship
Cleveland
game.
very well could get to the AFC Championship. If they play Miami,
That's what I'm saying. That's a team that they could
that's
potentially
very
go in
well
and win.
they could beat them. Yeah.
So it's just something to flirt with. I think it's interesting.
I like
The
it.
path might be there for them.
I like it. I like it. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, let's go ahead and we're going to switch it off now to our yearly awards with our early picks, what we have going on here. All right, so we got for MVP here. I agree with you on this one.
CMC.
CMC 1000% should be the MVP.
He basically didn't have a bad game this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
he's just
only
balling.
player now I've been hearing a lot that MVP is a quarterback's award. The only player that I'm giving it to that's a quarterback is Lamar. There's no other quarterback in the league right now that is giving
I
me.
agree with that. And I have to be honest, he's playing great, but I don't think he should win.
So I listened to, or not listen to, but I watched Good Morning Football.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the guy that I think it's Kyle that's on there.
Kyle Brandt?
Yeah,
Okay.
he was talking about that when they vote, they're voting purely. It's a reporter's vote, right?
Right.
And they're voting purely off of the story of the player.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
and obviously CMC's story this year has been very good.
Yeah.
But then you talk about Lamar and what he's been able to do.
Yeah. I think
That's been something that they were talking about. Now there are some other players, like of course, like they talk about like Dak. Dak doesn't have the story this year
yeah.
to help him get that MVP
If
award.
Dak didn't have that bad game last week, I kind of feel like if they beat Buffalo, I think he could still be in that picture personally. I think that hurt him. I think that took him out of there.
Yeah.
But I think with Lamar, is just his MVP season before was just so much better, just statistically. When you put him neck to neck, what he's doing now, what he did that year, it's it's not really. It's actually not even close.
Yeah.
His touchdown, he had like 36 touchdowns. Right. But I wouldn't be mad if he won it. I think exactly what you're saying. A lot of the perseverance of what they've kind of been dealing with. I mean, yeah.
He's
So he could win that, and then we have the offensive player of the
offensive
year. So
player.
then I think that has to be CMC.
Yeah.
I mean, the only
1000%. One of the other has to go to one of them.
right. If he didn't get hurt, Tyreek Hill could be in these conversations. I
Yep.
think, but the fact that he's missed, a game and just, I think that kind of bumped him out too.
Yep.
Defensive player of the year.
Defensive player of the year. This man is a mammoth amongst men. Like it's insane to see him out there. Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett. I still go back to the sack that he had against Kenny Pickett, and
Yep.
when he just bulldozed through the line, and you just see his like abs were at Kenny Pickett's face. and he just like
He's a,
it's almost
yeah,
like someone's tackling a small teddy bear.
dude. He's a monster. He's having the best season of his career. He's a again the defense we were talking about. He's a huge reason that he's the anchor there. He's
Yeah,
getting to the quarterback every game. He's stopping the run. I just think it's his year. I think it correlates with the team's success.
I agree. Rookie of the year.
I have C.J. Stroud. I know he missed those 2 games with the concussion, but I just think he's balling. He's just balling, man. I mean, the yards. He's very well could hit 4,000 yards passing this year. His touchdown to interception ratio is pretty darn good. And not only that, right? They might make the playoffs. He's let them, good enough. He's taken advantage of a weak division. And look, I think if they make the playoffs, he has to win it. I because now he's lost Tank Dell.
I agree.
I mean, there's a
And
lot of things that have gone against him with that team.
yeah, and he's put together such a great resume this year to go ahead and have him win that award. I would not argue that at all. I think CJ Stroud has definitely put himself up there as one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
He's a
He's
phenomenal leader
he's
too.
1000% in my opinion. In my opinion, right now, top 15 quarterback in the league.
Oh, hands down, no
He
question.
could even be in the conversation of top 10.
I agree. I agree.
Very well could be. So, um, did we have anything? We had. I'm sorry. I'm looking at bets right now, so we'll announce something to you guys after this. But um, what do you got? What do you got for us right here?
Comeback player of the year. So this was a tough one for me, and I'm kind of being biased over recency bias, but I got Joe Flacco. I mean, I don't know if he's played enough games, but if
I
he
love it.
if he leads this team, to the wild card,
I
I
love
mean,
that. I love that pick.
bro, he has 300 yards in every freaking game. He has more touch. Did you see he has more touchdowns in this span than like 5 or 6 teams total?
Let me see. I'm gonna look up his stats right now. This is live looking up his stats because I want to see right now what Joe Flacco's stats are looking like in 2023. Right now in 2023, he has more yards than he has passed for in 2022, and he had a whole season with the Jets last year. So he's passing for 1,600 yards right now with 13 touchdowns and only eight interceptions right now.
I mean, he has another game left. He could. I mean, I don't know, dude. I mean, if he ends up having at least 15 touchdowns, almost 2,000 yards and a small sample size, I
Yeah,
don't know, man. I think that's a great, like we said, it's the story. I think it's a great story,
I like it.
especially how bad they were playing
I
early.
like it a lot.
And then the last one we got as coach of the year. This is who I called from the beginning when we made our early predictions. I think it's justifiably his award to lose, in my opinion. There's a few others, but given the situation, Dan Campbell, I think, deserves to win it.
1,000% Dan Campbell has to get this award this year. There is no there is no debate when it comes to coach of the year this year because the Lions have been such a mediocre team, a laughing stock to the NFL.
For so
And for
long.
the first time this year, everybody's talked about, oh my gosh, Dan Campbell talking about eating people's kneecaps and whatnot. It seems as if with these new coaches that nobody can go ahead and hop off of like their sound bits of like whatever
Right.
interview that they had or whatever.
Right.
Um, and that's like what they're doing with Dan, the same way they did with Nick Sirianni and the Flowers. Dan is one hell of a
Phenomenal
coach,
coach, man.
brought in, and he actually played on the team that went 0-16.
I did hear that. Yeah, he was a tight end with time on that team.
So that's
Yeah, he's
that's
got the
pretty.
history
He
there.
has the history
Yeah,
with
to
that
bring
team.
them back to
Yes,
relevance.
I think 1,000% Dan Campbell.
The only other person that I guess you maybe come back with Mike McDaniel's maybe just because Miami's having a phenomenal year. But I just think Dan Campbell,
No, Dan
the
Campbell.
the 180 from where they were last year,
hmm
right? I just think it's his
Dan
award to
Campbell. We're
lose.
giving you another one. Hell yeah. So, the
Betting
big
segment.
news that we have for you guys, and this actually feels so good to be doing this from the comfort of my own home, where I just went ahead and I just placed a freaking bet. So
Time to be
Delaware
alive.
has finally legalized sports betting. It's only through Bet Rivers right now, so we can't do it through DraftKings. But I like the Bet Rivers app. I like their the
I think they
process they
have
have up
most
there.
of the same. like spreads and
Yeah.
props and
Oh
whatnot.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Same
I
spreads and
perused
props
it.
and whatnot. You know, I'm trying to see if there's like any boosts here. That's the only thing I don't
Right.
see. Like there's not like, any profit boost. But definitely if you're in Delaware, 1000% would highly suggest to, check out the Bet Rivers app and go ahead and make your bet. I will go ahead and give you guys my anytime touchdown bets. Obviously, I go for long ones, so I have a 10 pick bet right here. So we're going to start off. I have Amon Ross St. Brown versus Dallas. I have James Cook versus New England. I have Travis Etienne versus Carolina. I have Lamar Jackson versus Miami. I have Puka versus New York Giants. Christian McCaffrey versus the Commanders. I have Jonathan Taylor versus the Raiders. I have DeAndre Swift versus the Cardinals. I have Nico Collins versus the versus the Titans. And then last but not least, I have DJ Moore versus the Falcons. $5 for 1567 if that hits.
Wow. I like it. That you see that guy the other day last week, $5 for like almost $500,000.
Yeah,
I hope that's you.
man,
That would be amazing.
that would be
If it
amazing.
can happen to him.
And to happen with just betting from my couch.
Yeah. That's
First weekend.
that's really
Justin
the
actually shout out you, Justin. You told me about this. Justin hit last night.
did he
He hit for
first
150.
the first bet he hit. Oh, that's
150.
that's amazing.
That's freaking amazing. Like just to be able to do that. So
That'd
that
be a great draft or betting promo. Win your first bet, get like X X on top of it or something like that.
oh yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like in like for
Like a
if the company
promotional thing.
yeah. They should do
Like,
that.
oh,
Like
if
when
you
you're
win your first bet, no matter how much it is, we'll give you an extra $20 or something
yeah,
like that. I don't
yeah.
know.
I think they should give them at least like 100% profit boost on whatever they want to bet
Right.
for their first bet, whatever it
That'd be
is.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sure in due time. We
Yeah.
just we just got it, which we're happy about.
We are happy about it. I am ecstatic. So, well, thank you guys. It's a great week. It's week 17. Some people would say that this is just another week of football. We like to say that this is actually a very exciting week of football.
Hmm.
A lot of big things that could happen. A lot of things that are still to be said about the AFC. Next week is the last week of the NFL season, so next week is almost like a chalk up week, depending on how this week goes. But we're still going to go ahead and cover everything that happens next week and give you guys our predictions and talking about more of what's going to happen in these playoffs that are coming up.
Oh yeah.
um
And that'll be our focus,
yeah,
we'll still be doing it during the playoffs, give you those predictions.
indeed.
And yeah, it's getting fun. It's the fun time. As fantasy closes,
Yes,
uh, the real football, the real championship, you know, starts to get on his way.
indeed. And if you haven't checked out our NBA podcast or episodes, definitely check those out. I mean, if you're an NBA fan, or if you're not, who knows, maybe we can turn you into an NBA fan just by
Yeah,
our conversations. Who knows?
yeah. Please listen. We have another one in the works here. We'll have out in just a
Yes,
few days.
yes, indeed. So, without further ado, what we'll do is let's have our last cheers before the end of the new year. All right, fam. Well, have a great weekend. Have a great holiday weekend, New Year's. Like I said, be safe. And you know what? If you're not doing anything this weekend for the New Year's, do yourself a favor and pick yourself a pack up, Surfside, and just crack yourself a cold one. Cheers, fam.
Cheers.